On East 9th Street in Cleveland, Ohio, enclosed by a 19th century iron fence and Gothic gateway, is the Erie Street Cemetery, the city's oldest existing cemetery, and the final resting place of some of Cleveland's most notable pioneers and combatants. There are almost 8,000 burials in the cemetery, the oldest dating back to 1827. Scattered among the graves are monuments that have been constructed to honor some of the cemetery's famous occupants. We start Native American Heritage Month with one of the most famous occupants of the cemetery. A Native American who fought in the Black Hawk War, entertained the U.S. and Europe in theatrical troupe, enamored Her Majesty, the Queen of England, and reportedly enacted a curse on the city's professional baseball team. Today we visit the life and final resting place of Chief Jockosot. So if you're curious, let's take a walk through history. Also known as Walking Bear, Jockosot was born around 1810 in present-day Iowa. A member of the Mesquakie tribe, Jockosot was the son of Katuchasha, who rose to prominence during the war against the Osage Nation and earned the honorific name the Bear. Jockosot rose to prominence in his own right as a great warrior and leader of the Mesquakies during the Black Hawk War, a conflict that originated before Jockosot was born. Back in 1804, representatives of the Sauk and Mesquakie tribes signed a treaty with the United States government. The Treaty of St. Louis ceded all of their territory east of the Mississippi River. Sauk warrior Black Hawk, however, maintained the treaty was invalid and had been signed by drunken natives who did not understand that this meant they would someday have to cede his home village of Saukenuk. Black Hawk refused to leave his own home. He reached out to other tribes, including Jockosot's Mesquakies, and began to prepare for war. Early in 1832, General Edmund Gaines arrived in the area with a sizable force of U.S. soldiers and Illinois militia. Initially, the natives withdrew to the west side of the Mississippi. On April 5th, however, Black Hawk led them back into disputed territory, believing that other native forces and the British to the north would support him in a confrontation. When neither the British nor his native allies came to his support, Black Hawk attempted to surrender. Unfortunately, one of his truce bearers was killed in the confusion, and the war began. In May, Sauk and Mesquakie warriors won a significant victory that left the Americans badly demoralized. However, on August 2nd, U.S. soldiers nearly annihilated the natives as they attempted to escape west across the Mississippi. With this huge defeat, Black Hawk finally surrendered. Casualties in the 15-week war were grossly one-sided. An estimated 70 U.S. soldiers lost their lives. Estimates for the number of Native Americans killed are between 440 and 600. Black Hawk, Jockosot, and the rest of the Sauk and Mesquakie nations were forced to admit they no longer owned their land. They had to cross back over to the west side of the Mississippi and vacate the lands they had been occupying since the Treaty of St. Louis. This was a stunning blow to both tribes. With the loss of so much land and natural resources, many of the native people found themselves struggling just to survive. To raise money to help his people, Jockosot, who had been wounded in the war, made his way east to Cleveland in the early 1830s, looking for work. Here he began leading hunting and fishing expeditions and became a close companion of Dr. Horace Ackley. Through Ackley's friends, he made the acquaintance of theater promoter Dan Marble and joined Marble's theatrical troupe, touring various cities performing in plays which represented Native American life. Marble's troupe was in such high demand that it even toured Europe. In June 1844, Jockosot was received an audience by Queen Victoria. Her Majesty was so impressed by Jockosot, she commissioned a portrait of him by her royal lithographers. For the next decade, Jockosot continued touring the world, but the wound he sustained during the war had not healed, and his health began to fail. In 1844, Jockosot was diagnosed with quick consumption, an extremely aggressive case of tuberculosis. That, along with the wound he received 12 years earlier, signaled the end for the chief. He knew that the next time he fell ill, he was more than likely never going to recover. Jockosot made the decision to return to his people, to live out the little time he had left, and eventually be buried in Mesquakie land among his fellow warriors. But his time was running out. Jockosot made it back to the theatrical troupe's home base in Cleveland when he fell gravely ill and became bedridden. As he lay dying, he told those caring for him that he knew he would never leave his bed again, and begged them to send his body back to his homeland and the Mesquakie people when he died. The great chief never did leave that bed, passing away several days later. Jockosot's final request fell on deaf ears, and his body was taken to the Erie Street Cemetery. It's said Jockosot roams the Erie Street Cemetery at night, trying desperately to find a way to free himself and return home. But as the sun rises, his dejected spirit returns to his grave, unable to find freedom from his captivity. Some say Jockosot's spirit became so frustrated that he shattered his own tombstone. Others are quick to counter with a story of a tree trimmer who mistakenly cut a tree limb that hit the headstone. Either way, the pieces of the original stone are still visible in the cemetery, cobbled together in the dirt like a morbid jigsaw puzzle. Trying to appease his spirit, a second stone marked Jockosot, the walking bear, a distinguished Sauk chief, has been erected near the grave, along with a memorial plaque honoring his life. The legend of Jockosot has become so ingrained in Cleveland lore that it even crossed over to the world of professional sports. There's a rumor that his ghost decided that if he can't be happy, then no Indian can be happy. For that reason, many Cleveland sports fans believe the chief would occasionally head over to Progressive Field during home games and do something causing the team to lose. True or not, people visiting Jockosot's grave on game day have found small trinkets and tokens on it left behind by Cleveland baseball fans. Today, the Cleveland Indians are no more. The organization changed their name and mascot to the Cleveland Guardians, hoping to end the years of frustration for some who have called for the ceasing of the term Indian, and hoping to end the drought that Cleveland's professional baseball team has endured since 1948. As for Jockosot's body returning to his homeland, that wish may now be impossible. 1882 Cleveland City records confirmed that his body was removed from his grave, likely due to body snatchers who regularly exhumed the dead for medical research. Just another indignity endured by the mighty Chief Jockosot, the walking bear. Thank you for watching, folks. We'll see you next time as we explore more curious history. Take care.